Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Tyrone Roberts, and I'm a Director of Nursing based here in Manchester at Salford Royal, which is part of the Northern Carolines NHS group. It's really important to introduce ourselves whenever we meet anyone, and I also must do that in recognition of the late Dr. Kate Granger, who launched the My Name Is campaign and sadly passed away after a battle with cancer just over 4 years ago, and just so wanted to pay respect to Dr. Kate Granger. For the eagle-eyed amongst you, you'll have noticed a title slide around what nursing is and what it isn't, and that does refer back to Florence Nightingale's book in Notes on Nursing. I've only got roughly 10 minutes. I'm going to take you on a whistle-stop tour in terms of why you should think about nursing, its impact on others, but equally its impact on you, to describe what is nursing from my own experience, and to bust some of the myths, and how it's impacted on me in terms of my personal experiences, and hopefully towards the end then that you will imagine yourself as that future registered nurse and come join what is an amazing career. So I'm just now going to flick onto the main slides. 1 second. So, as I mentioned at the start, Florence Nightingale often epitomised with the launch of nursing as a profession, particularly between 1853 and 1856, when she went over to what is now Turkey in terms of supporting the Crimean War, and first really started to evidence the impact of our environment and the impact that can have on a person's mortality, and then really started to raise the profile and indeed then a subsequent launch of nursing as a profession in its own right, and evidence-based as it is now. Brief picture there in terms of me on the left when I first started just over 20 years ago, and top right me now working here in Greater Manchester. Oranges and beans, you might ask, what's this? So when I first went into nursing, I wasn't quite aware of what I was letting myself in for, and what we were most preoccupied with as student nurses was how to do your first injection. And yes, we did practice on oranges, beans, student nurse. It was our main sustenance and diet. Importantly, experiences that can change your life. So I use this picture with all those glimmers of light, millions of experiences and people that I've had the absolute privilege to meet just over my 20-year career. Just a couple of experiences to share with you, from the not so great to the far greater. So I can remember the first patient that sadly passed away under my care. I can remember being taught how to prepare a patient for the next stages afterlife, and the real privilege that is that you have when you realise that is someone's mum or nan or friend or family, and it's just a really privileged position to be in. I can equally remember looking after a 17-year-old girl who sadly had terminal cancer, lying there with her 17-year-old boyfriend, and a mum who had flown over. She was international and was just so grateful for the fact that we allowed her to stay in the side room with her, and just couldn't believe the extent we went to make her welcome. And it just really brings home how lucky we are in this country with the absolutely outstanding NHS. I've also helped deliver a fetus up to 20 weeks gestation, for whose ongoing life wasn't meant to be. And these are really, really traumatic experiences that people go through. And our role as nursing is to make that as comfortable for people as possible, and to be there in what is often their darkest hour. We leave footsteps, and I really believe with families, we can make those footsteps more positive in terms of those experiences in their life that no one would want to go through. And often the glue in the NHS, we are there 24/7. And we hopefully will make those traumatic experiences far more positive in terms of the impact that we have, and make it better than it could otherwise have been. There are, of course, really positive stories as well. The patient's hand you hold when they're frightened, the patient's hand you hold when they're taken down to theatre. The fact that we can detect a patient who's deteriorating, and obviously put the alarm out and apply interventions that ultimately do save people's lives. So the range of experiences, the range of input is really, really significant. It also teaches you far more than just clinical interventions. It teaches you humility for the human body, and it teaches you to deal with uncertainty as well. So it teaches you that you don't need to worry about so much in life in terms of what is there in front of you. It teaches you to be grateful for what you have, to enjoy what you have, and make the most of what you have, and indeed every day. It also teaches you around privilege, and really teaches you to unlearn your own often unconscious bias, views we may have about others, around others' experiences, around others' beliefs, and it teaches you to remove that, because actually underneath it all, we're all the same and we're all human beings. It also very much teaches you, I think, about equality. Again, remove the background, remove the external materialistic, remove the finances, and we're human beings together. And I think I love this quote in terms of about nursing being an indifference to power. It's a real pleasure associated with helping others from the distance of a peer rather than from an assumed superordinate. So where has nursing taken me? Just practice, I'll pick out from a few of these from the first one. I've worked in surgery, I've worked in medicine, I've worked in the acute side, I've worked in community, I've worked in women's and children's. That the roles that nursing can offer you are just broad and diverse, each with their own challenges and each with their own fantastic memories. Massive leadership input, improvement science, something that I'm increasingly interested in. How do we make healthcare reliable? How do we get to the point where no matter who you are or where you access healthcare, you can get the same standard of care, no matter where you are in the country, no matter who is on duty, and no matter who is looking after you? And we've learned a lot of improvement science from the aviation industry, and it's a real interest of mine around increasing and improving that reliability. Similarly, population health. 80% of ill health is not caused by healthcare, and nursing has a real input to make around health promotion, health prevention, and how we work alongside other people and other system partners in order to really make changes to people's choices, to people's behaviours. And here at Salford Royal, we're also integrated with adult social care, and it's really about doing things together. So, some usual thoughts. Think of nursing, you might think of teamwork, joy, sadness, making a difference. And there's nothing wrong with any of these, but I invite you also to maybe to think about something a little bit different. So I'm actually going to start bottom up. So yes, the ability to make a difference to others and to your own life, but it is, like I've just said, a focus on what people call social determinants. How can we reduce ill health and therefore improve people's lives? And how do we work with others in order to really make a difference, removing those biases, accepting that people have different starts in life, and really impacting in a positive way? And of course, as you move up, you've got ability to travel, the ability to work in a diverse range of areas, leadership, clinical access, just the opportunities are endless. Just before I conclude towards the end, being very aware of time, I also wanted to share with you an experience I was very fortunate to have in working as a nurse and being able to travel to India in order to support some international recruitment, but we're also very keen that we wanted to experience what nursing was like in India in order to be able to make sure that we welcomed the nurses from India into the UK with an awareness of what we have of their own context and their own experiences. This is one of the hospitals we visited that was a non-profit hospital, and therefore charged as little as they could do just in order to keep the hospital running. And this was one of their rooms that was called a special room. You may ask what would make it a special room. Well, it was a special room because it had an ensuite and it had a window. This was the ensuite, and this is compared to the standard that we expect in the National Health Service. You don't get sheets, you have to pay extra for sheets, whereas again, over here in the UK, this comes as standard. This was us towards the end of the visit, and you can see me on the far left there, and those were tears of joy. Sorry, not tears of joy. They were tears in terms of just we couldn't quite believe what we'd just seen, and it really sunk home how lucky we all are in this country. And at the end of that day, regardless of the struggles they were having, we were all presented with gifts from the hospital staff. It was an experience I will never forget, and is one of the many experiences that being a nurse has afforded me in this country. I've kept all the letters I've ever had from people, and I can shut my eyes now and see these people who wrote these thank you letters, and you know the impact you made, and no matter whether it was 10 years, 15 years, 20 years ago. The future. So nursing is privileged. It is the best job in the world, even if you can call it a job actually. Endless opportunities, diverse experiences. You will make the best friendships. You will have the best time, and it will change you for the better. And you do save lives, and believe me, you do make a difference. So I'll finish with this quote here. A good life is when you assume nothing, do more, need less, smile often, dream big, laugh a lot, and realise how blessed you are. So, what are you waiting for? Join an amazing profession, join an amazing team of registered nurses working within healthcare across the NHS, and you won't look back and regret it. Thank you.